to highlight one other added section here around voice services. And this could be your plain old telephone service, POTS, voice over IP, SIP, PRIs, and just on and on. All the different type of voice services will have these things in common. Again, from our standpoint, looking at the world, essentially we are this ILEC, this incumbent local exchange carrier, or CLEC is a competitive local exchange carrier. We have a primary switch or multiple switches that in turn connect to you and provide these services. But in order for you to make calls to the rest of the world, we uplink into regional tandem switches, and then those are all linked into kind of the national database. They call that the LERG. It's kind of making all of the top level decisions for voice routing and where numbers exist in order for these calls to be able to route and terminate. So the challenges we deal with, they're getting prevalent. They're getting worse, unfortunately. But efforts to minimize those are also increasing. So you've probably, regardless of a phone number at the business, at home, your cell phone, telemarketers, number spoofing, and other common hacks seem to be very prevalent these days. So, and they're annoying. So what can I do? There's several things, several primary things here. I've got 3 of them. We'll start with that. It's kind of the trifecta to combat these things. The first one's been out there for the longest. This is your National Do Not Call Registry. You may have done this for different numbers. You may not be sure on some. Go to this website, this www.donotcall.gov, and just check on some of your primary numbers. You can either register your phone new, you can verify that the registration is still current, or you can plainly report unwanted calls, which it's good. It is good to report those things. The problem is the target of the people that are telemarketing you, they're very tricky. They'll continue to rotate their numbers and do everything they can to try to not be able to be identified twice in a row. So even if you do blocks on your cell phone and whatever, they're just always randomly changing. But it is part of this 3-phased approach here. The other 2 are happening behind the scenes, not something that you do directly, but Verizon is fronting this. Actually came from some litigation against them, but they volunteered themselves to lead a cause in what they're calling the Stir and Shaken initiative. It's basically an authenticated caller ID to know that number origination is actually authenticated or proper from the carrier that is making the call. So if you or an attacker of this type of number spoofing was originating calls from a voice provider, saying that the caller ID was something other than the ones they manage, they're working on ways to continue to minimize that, saying, hey, that's not a legitimate call. It should never be originated from here, or it doesn't match up with the billing identification, doesn't match this customer. A number of things they're doing to try to block those calls. The third one here is the newest one. This is an industry traceback group, telecom association, and a cooperation with a number of other carriers. Continue to work on tracking and reporting essentially robocalls, other computer generated calls, like all these things that you're really inundated with when you get the call and you answer and no one's there. It's likely a computer has dialed you and you haven't been connected with an agent yet. A lot of this is international fraud, but it's been pretty successful so far. A lot of carriers are reporting these malicious intents. They're doing everything within their power to trace these back from, like that original diagram, from the regional provider, or sorry, the voice providers to regional tandems, even internationally, to trace these down and find the offenders and punish them to the full extent of the law. So all in an effort to continue to reduce these. Outside of that are other common attack methods, that just little things that we can do on our own. voice services. So when you think about voicemail that's usually associated to all voice services, those have the ability, especially within an internal business system, like a PBX or other business phone. Some of the voicemail accounts have the ability to do a dial out or a dial through, meaning you could press certain digits, which would in turn give you an outside line and allow you to go to another number from there. If we're not careful, sometimes that service is enabled by default, which gives other people, especially international people, to kind of go through your voicemail box, make international or outbound calls, and either run up a large bill or do other malicious things. So in connection with that, you need to be aware of your voice lines, the features that are provisioned. International call block is a good one. If you just plain are not making international calls, which we're finding many businesses don't, we only have a certain amount that says yes, this specifically needs to be enabled. If you don't plan on really using it or have other international calling abilities through prepaid or whatever, it's good just to have it disabled. Or you can do like a passcode or a star command to enable that per call. You may put just a general cap on any toll-based or long-distance calling accruals, so you don't just get surprised by long-distance bills or accruals that were surprised to you. And then back to that voicemail is just to change whatever the default password was when it was first. Make sure you get in there and set up your voicemail box, change the password so other people can't make changes on it.